have Chelsea's Maresca. Oh wait, it's Maresca's Chelsea. Finally arrived. Yeah, this is what happens when Chelsea win once in a blue
I
moon.
asked you to be formal. I asked you to give you 5 topic sentences for the intro, and this is what you do. I'll do it. I'll do it. So, hi guys. After a cracking episode of English Premier League, Chelsea have finally started flying. Apparently, with the new squad that they have under Enzo Maresca, Arsenal has shown remarkable defensive stability to edge out another win, a proper win, and continuing their title credentials. Liverpool are finally starting to take shape under Arne Slot, and even Tottenham have managed to win very convincingly. So, in this episode, we are going to be discussing the aforementioned clubs along with the other English Premier League results. And now I hand back the responsibility to Kriska. Kriska, do your thing.
Thank you, VS. You have to excuse me. I think I'm still out of words after the Chelsea performance that we saw over the weekend. Um, happens to the best of us. So let's start with Chelsea because clearly they outshone everybody in this week. Have Chelsea actually found their password to Netflix and chill under
Too
Maresca?
early, too early to say that. Too early to say if Maresca is going to do a good job at Chelsea. But what we saw yesterday was a very convincing display of football by Chelsea, albeit in a very open contest. Now, the key highlight, the man who got the hat trick yesterday was Madueke. So, Madueke, you have to remember that Chelsea this season we spent heavily, and one position where we did not lack talents, but we still spent was a right wing position. For right wing, we already have Palmer who can do a job there. We have Madueke, we have Estevao coming up. There is Diego Moreira, and we also bought in Pedro Neto for 60 million, who is also a left-footed winger, although he can play in the left side. So Madueke was actually Chelsea's best attacker during the preseason, considering the fact that Palmer actually missed the preseason games. And during the game against Manchester City, it was highly surprising for me as a Chelsea fan to know that Pedro Neto, who joined very recently, did not have a full preseason under Enzo Maresca, was preferred over Madueke, even in a substitute role. I thought if at all we were going to substitute somebody in that right wing position, it has to be Madueke after the fact that he had one full year with the Chelsea squad last year and the full preseason under Maresca, where he actually excelled. But during the weekend on Thursday, he performed really well in that game against Servette in Europa Conference League, and that is how he earned his place. And before the match, I mean, it's at this point very social media famous that Madueke said Wolverhampton is a very dash city, and he went on to score a hat trick there. It did
The
not
man,
come off as a surprise for me to find Madueke on the score sheet. Did I expect a hat trick from him? Absolutely no. Did I expect him to do well? Definitely yes. Did I expect him to score? I would have bet 20 rupees on it. And 20 rupees, given my current bank balance, is not as menial as it sounds. So, uh, first things first. Madueke on the right wing, he's a very direct player. He's a direct dribbler who excels in one-on-one, and he has this kind of unpredictability about him, wherein he doesn't constantly try to cut in and shoot. He also has a very good ability to take the fullback on the outside, hit the byline, maybe cut back, maybe pull back across, or create space in the box. And in the first half, you have to remember that he scored the all the 3 goals in the second half. In the first half, he was actually Chelsea's best attacker despite Cole Palmer, the excellent, technically brilliant, classy Cole Palmer being on the pitch. Madueke was the one who was taking the game to Wolves. He was giving Ait Nouri a very tough time. He was going on the outside, he was going on the inside. And in the second half, once things gelled together, Palmer showed his class. Absolutely brilliant player with the ability, the quick thinking on the feet, the class on the ball. And most importantly, this is something that I feel a lot of modern day wingers thoroughly lack, the weight of pass. It sounds like a small thing. I mean, these days wingers are all about skills and flashiness, but Palmer's weight of passing and the timing of release is incredible. Combine that with inform Madueke, and that is how Chelsea ended up with that scoreline. I will also accept that Wolves played a very open game and it did not exactly help them out. So, absolutely
At one
classy
point, they
performance.
were pretty close to making it 3-5.
yeah.
We would have seen a completely different game.
Easily.
A marginal
Yeah.
tight, but ultimately the correct offside call, if I'm not mistaken. And from there on, Chelsea did not look back and put the game to bed as if there were any doubts.
Actually, that also highlights Chelsea's problem. So, irrespective of the scoreline, Chelsea's victory, I will not say that it was a complete domination or an annihilation of the Wolves side. We were very open. Wolves could have, maybe should have scored a couple goals more. And the defensive performance was lacking, especially in the second goal that Wolves scored. Nobody was marking the attacker. And Enzo Fernandez yet again has proved that he is defensively not as resolute as your pivot of a midfielder should be. You can have your, at this point right now, at this moment in time, you can have a very amateur footballer with decent pace carry the ball through the midfield, and I would not trust Enzo Fernandez to top this player. So Chelsea's defensive issues are still persisting. The class of attack, especially the two players that I mentioned, it's papering over their cracks. We cannot rely on this structure. There is a lot of improvement that has to go into the club, especially in the defensive midfield position and the centre back position. Fofana is not convincing. Enzo Fernandez, as good as he's on the ball, he seems to be at this point a liability of it. And maybe with Romeo Lavia in the squad, things could have been better.
Thank you for that guest appearance on such short notice, Dr. Janaki Raman from DD Sports. I think that was 6 minutes
Class. Yeah.
really well spent.
Spent
Uh,
monologue.
we really appreciate it. Uh, I'm sorry about your bank balance, but I guess I just made $50 because right before the stream we bet you can't contain your ranting or monologues to 2 minutes. So thanks. That's the easiest
Only
money.
because Chelsea
I
did
won
well.
the bet. I won
That's
the
the
bet. I won the bet.
easiest. That's the easiest money
Easiest.
that Charlie has made
Yeah.
since Chelsea's sellers sold all their, wannabes and
Only
deadwood
because
The
only
Deadwoods.
influence.
because of the victory. On another day, I wouldn't.
Well,
On
you know
another day,
what
no,
they
no, no,
say.
on another day on defeat, he would
It
go up
is.
to a 10-minute rant. Forget
It is.
6-minute rants and five
There
minute
is a
rants.
reason why they call it once in a blue moon.
Yeah. Oh no, Kriska and VS, troops. That's
Yeah.
our fellow Arsenal
AFTV.
representative. Yeah, VS would
Yeah.
have gone full on troops if Chelsea had a defeat. Had a defeat
Okay.
like 6-2 or 3 or like 6-3 or something to any other team like Arsenal. Okay, full blown
All right.
troops. VS, I guarantee that. So yeah,
Let's move on with that. I think he blew up his quota of talking about Chelsea for the entire episode in the first 5 minutes. Um, that said, I don't really have much to add on, but watching. It was like watching a vintage Premier League game, end to end,
Barclays, peak
open
Barclays,
action, peak
peak
Barclays
Barclays.
exactly.
Yeah.
So as a neutral, I was all in for it. Proper edge of the seat. Can we please stop scheduling this so late into the night?
Your tongue rolls like it's just
Yeah.
shawarma. Come on.
All right. Who else played this weekend? Slot ball.
Yeah.
Maresca did his job. How convincing was Arne Slot for
Yeah.
you?
Yeah. So yeah, Chris. So before jumping on to our next slot and my favorite team, and I would like to say a couple of words on Chelsea. Chelsea's performance against Wolves. So yeah, that was a solid performance. Noni Madueke like literally shit talking against Wolves, and turned out to be a player who just shit talks and proves his game. Okay, so that is some level. Okay, but coming into the dynamics of the game, when it came to Wolves always I could see in the second half left a gaping hole in their midfield, which
They
like
did.
Noni Madueke, Cole Palmer, and even Enzo Fernandez could capitalize on and put the through passes from the defensive third into the final third very easily, and Cole Palmer could easily assist a hat trick of assist to Noni Madueke, if I'm not wrong. So Wolves' defensive structure and their ability to evade the first place was literally nil, and also like we can't blame them too, right? They had a literally non-existent, non-named defense and literally how to say a duo of Hwang Hee Chan and Matthias Cunha carrying literally the entire Wolverhampton team.
Yeah.
So they don't have a really good defensive structure and really good defensive names in the back who could protect them when a really good threatening Cole Palmer comes to finish his hat trick or so. So yeah, so I wasn't really surprised that Chelsea could bang the door against Wolves and hit them for 5 goals or 6 goals. So uh, I saw what I thought happened. Simple as that. So yeah, Coming to the Liverpool game, so it was a typical game. Like I couldn't see much difference between the Ipswich game and the Brentford game. So it was a typical 2-0, 2-0 finished game. So yeah, we start with the base of wins, but some things that I could see in this Brentford game was Virgil van Dijk. So not many people on Twitter, on football Twitter or Instagram, football Instagram are praising Virgil van Dijk. The guy just won 98 games out of 100 games at Anfield, which is one of the most commendable records in football history, and one that isn't to be surpassed in the near future or in the future of football. So he put on a really solid performance, which goes unnoticed as always. But kudos to my captain and Luis Diaz. Man, oh man, what a performance was that! Uh,
What a
that
change of fortunes in a matter of couple of
yeah,
weeks.
exactly. I'm going to speak about Luis Diaz for a couple of minutes, but spare me some minutes here. So, because that was one of the most complete games that I have seen from Luis Diaz since he came to Liverpool, literally. Forget the brace of goals that he scored against some other teams or some other team, but the game against Brentford was a really good shining crystal of his career in Liverpool, because take the counter attack. Okay, the classic Klopp-esque counter attack which was initiated by Jota, and after which Luis Diaz and Jota evaded the first press. Okay, Luis Diaz, by the direction he was going in the counter attack, I definitely thought he wouldn't be going to finish. He would dribble like he was just like the Kaka or the Kaka or Ronaldo 9 of the 1990s and 2000s, and as always he wouldn't finish. But I could see a similarity between the Luis Diaz in the Brentford game and the Sadio Mane in a 2019-20 Liverpool versus Crystal Palace game. Okay, VS is laughing because he would have obviously seen that video. Okay, yeah,
I agree.
because yeah, similarly in a Liverpool Crystal Palace game back in 2019-20 season, Sadio Mane and Mohamed Salah used to start a counter attack similar to the counter attack that we started against Brentford. Okay, Mohamed Salah would pass, like Mohamed Salah would come dribbling with the ball, and Patrick Van Aanholt, Patrick Van Aanholt, the legendary FPL defender who we would all take in FPL, he would shield Sadio Mane from dribbling. Okay, in the final third, literally Sadio Mane literally changes his dribbling direction in literally a flash nanosecond, which makes Patrick Van Holt to like trip on and then fall before Sadio Mane, which makes Salah make a short pass to Sadio Mane and then finish the goal. So I could literally see a similarity of that goal back in 2019 to this goal in 2024, wherein Luis Diaz literally changed the direction of his sprint, which made I literally forgot the defender of the game. I think it's Vitaly Arnold, if I'm not wrong. I think it's Vitaly Arnold, which made Vitaly Arnold trip and then could not change his direction of Luis Diaz's sprint, which made Luis Diaz finish easily with his weak foot. So that was a really clean finish from Luis Diaz, and man, oh man, what a game from him in a complete manner. And then my Egyptian king, as usual, a goal. So 128 goals and assists from 128 games at Anfield. So yeah, the Egyptian king, salute to you. Yeah.
Since Charlie already covered the Luis Diaz aspect that I thought of mentioning, I really want to give a shout out to one of Liverpool's best transfers that they have made last year. And like Charlie complaining, a lot of the time certain Liverpool players tend to go under the radar. And Alexis McAllister is somebody who I believe has been an
Yeah,
absolute wonderful,
U-
solid, successful transfer. And you also
unit.
have to
Yeah,
unit. He does
yeah,
everything. He does everything you
yeah.
want your midfielder to. So Alexis McAllister, when he burst onto the scene as a cam, no, he started as a proper number 10 in the Brighton side in PL, and his primary job was to stay in between the spaces. He was not a receiver of the first ball from the defense. His job was not to conduct the play through the midfield. His job was to take up what the other midfielders, I think it was Bissouma back then in
Bissouma.
Brighton,
Yeah,
what Bissouma was offering, and then play it forward to the striker. So what I thought Liverpool was buying was a number 10 who I did not really see fit into their 4-3-3 system under Klopp. But Klopp himself started playing Alexis McAllister deeper, which actually continued into the national side as well, because in Argentina team as well, McAllister is actually excelling in that number 8 role. And now, right now, in the Liverpool structure of the two midfielders alongside Gravenberg, I think McAllister is doing a brilliant job. So he's able to conduct the play. He's able to receive that first pass from defense and build the play from there, which is not something he was groomed in his earlier years to be doing. So the skill was definitely already there. So kudos to Klopp for identifying it. And now what Arne Slot has done. So last time when we covered Liverpool's performance, I mentioned that Slot is not doing anything radical. He's just trying to keep the foundation that Klopp has in place, and he's working on it. and there was no signature from Arne Slot to be seen yet. But I think that there are small signs of things changing under Arne Slot. Nothing way too obvious, but right now the way Liverpool are playing, the possession system that Slot has right now is actually a little bit more controlled than what Klopp had in place. So Klopp's possession was way more dynamic in my point of view than Arne Slot. So Arne Slot's midfielders especially and fullbacks, I may add. So you have Liverpool type of play. The midfielders and the fullback are a lot more stable in their respective positions or their zones than what they were under Klopp. So less mobile than what Klopp had his midfielders and fullbacks doing, more stable and technically brilliant players. You add all that together, the opposition is not exactly in the best of forms. Arne Slot's controlling methods and stability in terms of position, along with Klopp's dynamism in attack, I think Liverpool clocked the record all time. The pass success rate for Liverpool in the match versus Brentford was 92%. And this is the
Yeah,
highest
exactly.
Liverpool pass completion rate since 2004 records were start being kept. And it is for good reason. Slots team in the midfield phase is a lot less dynamic than what Klopp's team was. But in the attacking front, once the ball crosses over the halfway line towards the final third of the pitch, they tend to show their Klopp side. So I think it's a really wonderful combination that Slot is trying to build. It's still in the very early stages. We need to wait and see how it further develops. But when I said in the last episode that Slot does not seem to be trying to add a signature of his own to the Klopp's team, I
Yeah,
stand corrected. He's being very methodical here. He's not revitalizing the entire squad with some new drug. He is building it up step by step. So I see and Liverpool is a club that gives time to managers. So I would say Slot is here to stay, and he is a man with ideas.
yeah. So yes, like I literally echo with your point because see, we just seen a couple of games of slot ball. Okay, it was just against Ipswich and Brentford.
Yeah,
No offense to Thomas Frank and his tactics on Brentford, but Ipswich and Brentford, I see they are a mid-table clubs or a bottom table
lower
clubs.
mid table.
Or lower mid-table clubs. They are not teams to be pondered upon that much and that to be influenced upon. When we only see teams like Ange Postecoglou's Tottenham or any Unai Emery's Aston Villa, literally for example, only then will we see Arne Slot's tactical ability and his stability, which he can bring to the team, and the way he can dynamically change the pace of the team and win the game from that. So
Yeah,
let's see, just early stages, but the next games against Manchester United at Old
Manchester
Trafford,
United.
really looking forward to that.
Yeah, we
Let's see.
have two cracking games next week, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Two big all-time rivalries.
Yeah,
Interesting.
So you
What
just mentioned
else?
that Liverpool will be playing against Manchester United next week. So I think we can take a couple moments to talk about Manchester United.
Yes, let's do
First of
more than
all,
a couple of minutes.
I was very frankly delighted that they lost. I was rooting. I think Charlie and me, we were hate watching the
exactly.
United Brighton game together,
Successful
and
hate watch. Successful hate watch.
successful hate watch.
Yeah,
So very happily, United lost, and they conceded
yeah.
the winner to Brighton
The,
in Fergie time.
the, no. The most obvious part was I wasn't even really surprised about this defeat. There
No,
used to
no,
be an
we
an
gave Brighton a chance.
yeah no
We
no
gave Brighton every chance.
there used to be an annual defeat for Manchester United against Brighton, if I'm not
Yep.
wrong. So this came as a no surprise for me. Yeah, but nevertheless, I was happy. Simple as that.
But yeah, nonetheless, the way it unfolded, it was certainly not lacking any drama. And it was almost like Brighton came up and said, "Here you go, reverse Uno. We are going to score some winner in the 90th minute and leave you holding nothing." After a performance, you could argue both teams deserved a point at least.
I would agree. So
Uh,
what I think United was doing well, that their midfield was very much functional based on how I watched the game. The midfield was doing its job, especially the young talent, the young English talent, Kobe Mainu. I think he's a gem. At that age, to be playing at that level and conducting a midfield of United stature so effortlessly is incredible. So I think United's midfield, especially, was doing its job right. They kind of lacked ideas in the final third, and especially when you consider that you don't have a natural left back, and Rashford is your left winger. So there is no much options up front. There is no rotation of places up front when they attack through the left side. Right side was a little bit better than their left side, but then again, Diallo was guilty of missing a chances, albeit he scored the consolation goal for United. I think what really went wrong for United was that. So for the first Brighton goal, when the attacker, I don't remember who it was. I think it was How Pedro. When he was weighing up the cross, so the attack came via the right side of Brighton, United's left side. He took 3 business days to measure what's happening up front. He stopped, he looked up. You don't give a top footballer that much time on the ball. He stopped, he looked up, he looked back again, then he measured a cross in. Fortunately, the Brighton did not convert that cross, but then it fell to Mitoma. And now you see, okay, United were caught lacking once. Now they are up. No, Mitoma, he brought down the ball and he did not fire in the cross first time. He was also given the sweet time to actually bring the ball under his control and then square it to Danny Welbeck, who routinely scores against United. So the defensive lapse for United was very clear. And when you look at the second goal, it's criminal. So for the first goal, let's excuse. It's just the start of the season. It's just the second match, and the team is being, the
Yeah.
new defenders are coming to set in. Lenny Yoro is injured. So many excuses. X, Y, Z. The second goal, see, it's very fundamental. In football, the goal post has two posts. Whichever side you are attacking from, there is a near post and a far post. You
Zonal
have to
marking.
defend both.
It
You
was
have
zonal marking.
zonal, zonal marking doesn't mean you leave the far post
No, no.
vacant.
I'm
You
just
cannot leave
sarcastic.
the
Yeah.
far post vacant.
Yeah. Yeah.
So absolutely, I get that, and that kind of zonal marking is simply unacceptable at this level because how Pedro, he had a free header. There was not one defender. Forget
Yeah.
being near him. There was nobody even looking his way. So I think United and Chelsea, for the apparently top clubs, they have the worst defenses in the league, and it's a tight competition. If I were to choose between United's defense and Chelsea's defense to defend me for my life, I would much rather choose my great grandfather. Trust him more. That bad. And he's non-existent, just like their defenses.
Shit,
Speaking
sorry,
of
man. Yeah.
trust and trust issues, I'm gonna force fit Leicester City here. The Foxes, who got outfoxed by Cockerels. Tottenham finally coming good, and credit to Charlie for the tongue twister there. I didn't watch the game. The score lines are just Tottenham blazed their way through.
Charlie,
After
you have your
Everton.
say. I also have my say about the same topic.
Yeah. So yes. So that was literally an anagram or a headline that I prepared for last week's like as Leicester faced uh, Tottenham. Okay. So this week Spurs literally outclassed Everton, and as coming from the red side of Merseyside, I'm literally happy that Everton were bashed thoroughly by Tottenham, courtesy of a brace from Son Heung-min, and a literally masterclass game from the Spurs defensively and keeping a clean sheet. So Everton were piss poor and pathetic, like as always, and I think this is the season that they get relegated finally after like 3 to 4 seasons of surviving on a 50 pound budget from Sean Dyche and this literally how to say it, like brick, like he has a voice which comes from a
Charlie, for
swallowed brick, right?
anybody who might have just tuned into the stream for the
Yeah.
first time ever, can you clarify which club do you support? I'm not able to figure that out from the way you talk about Everton.
No, I support Liverpool, man. That's why I speak about Everton like this. Yeah, yeah.
I think what really
It's just
went wrong
banter.
for see, first of all, Everton, you have to give credits to the job. You can troll him for calling him anti-woke British banker. I've heard people call that. He is a good manager. He has the least diverse team in English top flight. He has Dwight McNeil, who used to have one job back in Burnley. It was to
But
get the ball on his left foot and whip in a cross towards Chris Wood, and there was this
this would
Ashley Barnes, if you
Ashley
remember.
Barnes.
That was
Ah,
literally the only job for Dwight McNeil. He still has Dwight McNeil in Everton now doing the same exact job. This man knows one game. He's actually good at it. I would actually be curious to see what happens if Sean Dyche is given a good team with really good crosses on the ball and really good headers on the ball and a really good hard battling midfield. He might be able to do a good job. You have to remember that Everton survived a 15-point deduction last year to stay in PL, so they did well. I hope they stay in PL. I like Sean Dyche as a manager. I am a fan of good old football. Playing football the way it is supposed to be played. Sean Dyche all the way. Now
Making
coming to
people in
Tottenham.
their strengths.
Yeah, absolutely does not care
Utter
about
as
position side.
as Sean Dyke says, yes, that's utter woke nonsense.
That's utter work nonsense. You know what football is about? Football is about putting that ball in the back of the net. It is that simple. It's a simple game. You have to play it simply. Now, yeah, moving on to Tottenham. So again, we have here another manager with truckloads of personality, a very unique style of playing the game, and his approach towards the game. I don't really know if this is a good thing to say, but it was ballsy because he fielded a team with only one proper midfielder in the team. You can say, argue that, okay, James Madison is technically a midfielder. No, James Madison is a center attacking midfielder. He's somebody who plays in the advanced spaces. So the lineup that this guy, the Tottenham manager, Apostogoglu,
Postecoglou.
he fielded was extremely attack minded, and he came away with 4 goals and a clean sheet. So you have to give the man credits for it. So he started Bissouma as the base of the midfield, and Bissouma is key to everything. And Bissouma aside, he actually had 5 full-time attacking players on the pitch. So Madison is absolutely a class player. He can do a job in the midfield, but he doesn't have a number 8 in his system. He played with a 6 and 5 attackers. So extremely crazy tactics coming from Postecoglou. I think Tottenham fans are going to continue loving him the way that they have loved him last season, because he brings in personality. He brings in a very unique way of approaching the game. He brings in truckloads of attitude, like sheer attitude to the game. So to field just one midfielder and go with 5 attackers, score 4 goals, come away with a clean sheet, absolutely incredible stuff from him. And shout out to Van de Ven, who was also a very good standout defender in the Premier League last season, also one of Premier League's fastest players on and off the ball. The assist that he made to Son, carrying the ball from his penalty box to the other penalty box, was simply, I mean, it's not technically brilliant. He did not beat a lot of players. There was not a lot of flair shown, but there was thrust, there was strength, there was energy, and there was intent, and they scored the goal. So they have a squad that they can work with. They have some absolutely upcoming, very talented young players in Brennan Johnson, in Archie Gray, whom they have recruited this season. They still have the veteran in Son Heung Min, still capable of banging in goals. So at some point, I think if Postecoglou continues what he is doing, and if Tottenham board is able to back him correctly, maybe in the down future when sun might start rising in the west, we might actually start taking Tottenham seriously, because if somebody can, Postecoglou can.
Great, great. So our fellow Arsenal representative from the other half of the north side of London. So
Oh yeah,
Christoph,
I only watched one half because my home team Barca, they were also playing.
it's you. Okay.
But
So yeah,
yeah,
as our fellow in-house Arsenal representative, what do you think about Arsenal's defensive stability and their unsurprisingly seemingly routine 2-0 win against Aston Villa, as opposed to like what other football fans on Twitter expected out of Unai to disappoint Gunners? So what do you think of that?
I think it's a question for VS because he has been the one wanting to cover Arsenal's defensive stability.
Stability, yeah.
He feels their own fans are
See,
undervaluing their defense, while
not exactly. I mean, see, the reason is I grew up supporting Chelsea. I supported Chelsea throughout my teenage. When I was in university, I was still a Chelsea supporter, and the Chelsea teams that I grew up supporting, they won a lot of trophies by being defensively resilient.
Defensive.
That was
oh
the
yeah,
first
I am
criteria.
aware.
Having good attackers was great. You have to have great midfielders. We had a great few. We had Fabregas, we had Lampard, but all our successes, all the trophies that we won were based on solid defending. And right now, the best defense in the league, I would say, is what our hated neighbors have. And I commend them for the solid work that they've done in recruiting the defense, in training them, in the structure that they maintain. It's highly disheartening for me, but credit where it's due. Arsenal's defense is incredible, and that is the reason they were able to go toe to toe with City for the last 2 seasons for the title. That is the reason why they will be and they are title contenders this season. First and foremost, William Saliba is exceptional. William Saliba is the closest thing that I have seen in recent years to a peak Virgil van Dijk. He is great on the ball. He is incredible off of it. He can defend aerially. He can defend on the ground. He can time his tackles. He can do man marking. He is incredible at set pieces. Absolute unit, and a smooth and a very smooth player on the ball to watch, silky as it gets. pair him along with Gabriel, who is astounding man marker, and then their fullbacks. I think Ben White has been incredible at that right centre back, right back role, and now they also have some Italian steel in the defense in the name of Calafiori. So
Calafiori.
Arsenal season for the past year, they have Bukayo Saka, who is one exceptionally good attacker, but you have to remember that the other attackers, Martinelli is good, but he doesn't produce a lot. Havertz is good, but Havertz is Havertz. Jesus is good, but Jesus doesn't score a lot. So their attackers are not up there. Odegaard is actually very much elegant in the attack, and he can contribute. Right, Declan Rice also contributes,
I
but their
I would
entire
I think you're
title
overlooking
is
one obvious
built around
name.
the.
I would disagree with you on that, yes, because you're overlooking Trossard. Whenever
Oh
that
yeah,
guy
yeah,
comes on,
Trossard. Yep,
whenever that guy
best
comes on the
substitute in
bench,
football right now.
yeah,
He always scores. He
the
always
last
scores.
2 years, the best substitute. Like after Johan Wissa from
Absolutely.
Brentford, who is one of the best differentials in the last 2 years that I've ever seen. Trossard, whenever he comes on the bench, he at least puts an assist. Yeah,
Trossard is the best left winger you can
yeah,
have on the bench. You can be any team in the world. So
yeah. I
definitely
have to say,
Trossard is a difference maker. But what I was trying to say that in the long term, over a grueling course of 38 match season, it is Arsenal's defensive solidity. Also credits to David Raya, incredible goalkeeper, great on the
yeah.
ball, can save when needed. So
I,
it
I
is
mean,
that
I mean,
central core
what a double save was that?
double
That
save that he was
yeah,
made. Yeah. So it is
marvelous.
that defensive stability. Declan Rice in the middle, Saliba and Gabriel behind him, Raya in the goal. They have a core, and there is this quote. I think it was Fergie, right? Like attacks wins you games, and
Defense
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 wins
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 you
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 titles.
titles.
trophies.
Our attack, Chelsea's attack, won us a game against Wolves yesterday, but we don't have the defense. Not even close to a defense that can challenge for a title. Arsenal, despite their title credentials and despite all the points that they won last season, they don't have an attack as good as ours. And I'm not overstating this, but the defense more than just compensates for everything else. Arsenal's defense is what I wish Chelsea had.
So
Right.
I mean,
All
take
right.
out.
We took care of one title contenders. Next, the outright favorites. Citizens, routine, 4-win,
Business
Or
4-0
well,
as
I
usual.
mean,
against
usual.
Dinos.
BAU.
We should all have just forecasted that 4-1 win when Haaland literally teased us whether we have all took him in the fantasy Premier League and put him as captain. So we should all forecasted that 4-1 win and a Haaland hat trick very easily. Yeah, an usual win, a well-oiled machine pulling up a
We need
a
to
usual win.
wait for better
Yeah,
opponents against City. City first match they got a very raw, uncooked Chelsea. This match
yeah,
they got Ipswich. We need, like Charlie said, we need City to run into maybe an Arsenal or a Liverpool or an Aston
Tot-
Villa or even a
Tottenham,
fully fit Newcastle United or
Tottenham.
Tottenham
Yeah,
before we can analyze where they stand this season, because the
yeah.
City machinery that they have built over the past several years, the gears keep grinding and they keep churning out the 3 points week in week out. No stopping it. Never expected Ipswich to even slightly dent the 3 points that they were going to get. It's just business as usual. Nothing much to talk about. City did
Absolutely.
what
All right.
City
I guess
does.
then it's time for us to wrap up. What are the games that we are looking forward to next weekend?
Most
Yep. Mostly
importantly, Manchester United
with
versus
Liverpool.
Liverpool.
Uh,
There's also the North London Derby.
yeah, it's the
Yep.
North London derby next week. Ah, okay. So it's the
We
battle of the
we have Chelsea Crystal Palace as the London Derby as well.
London derby. Hey, I think it's called the MH10 derby or something, some highway derby. I think it's
Yep.
called Crystal Palace.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah,
Cool.
looking forward.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Battle of the
Thank you,
Dutch
viewers.
Baldies next week. That's sweet.
We don't
Bye.
endorse that talk. It's all Charlie. We only hired him last month.